So similarly, if Krishna, even Krishna, or Guru or Sadhu, there are examples in Shastra about this. Sometimes they may say or do something which goes against the standard of dedication and integrity that they themselves established in the past, that is expected from a representative of Bhagavan, or from God himself in this case. In those cases, the disciple is invited to take a distance and pray, thinking, okay, Krishna is testing me, testing my sincerity through this particular situation. But the student is not expected to follow those instructions or examples which go against what is supposed to be revealed by Guru, Sadhu, Krishna. One is not expected to engage in blind following, but in cautious, distant prayer for further revelation, but to take care of the integrity of one's commitment. So one brief clarification that comes in mind, once Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta, when speaking about Diksha, he said, when you accept Sri Guru, you go with a no return ticket in hand. And that surrender is, of course, and I think it's important to clarify just in case, because if not, we may say, okay, you already surrendered to a person, so from now on, you cannot argue and you have to do everything you are being told. Yes, but that provided that the person behaves as how should behave. We follow. Because if not, the dynamics change, the interaction changes. Surrender to Guru, surrender to Sadhu. Surrender is, of course, in consideration that the Guru behaves as such. In other words, a disciple do not surrender to a person, in one sense, to an individual, to a human being. As disciples surrender to a principle, to the flow of truth, revealing itself through a particular individual. And that's the principle of divine revelation, coming to one's life through, again, an agent, if you will. So the surrender is, so to say, not to someone, but to something that flows through someone. Surrender to that principle, surrender to the ideal, to that commitment, like the gopis are showing there. And of course, the ideal is that such surrender and such example from Sadhu continues flowing and increases forever, but we know sometimes that's not the case always. So in some cases, that principle of God's representation is contradicted, then the disciple is not expected to surrender in that case. If the Guru is doing something that goes against what the Guru taught for decades, the disciple will be loyal to the essence of the example, the teaching. Because if I surrender to something that goes against what is expected from a sadhu, that surrender goes against surrender. That surrender goes against the actual principle of substantial surrender and just becomes niyamagraha, doing something without knowing why I'm doing that, without having a proper explanation to myself. So in this case, when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta said there is no return ticket in surrender to Sri Guru, again, one is not going backwards in one's commitment with the truth, no matter what form that takes and what's the price to pay. That's my point. If for example, a sadhu doesn't behave as such and the disciple takes a distance, he's not leaving truth, but taking a distance to take care of that truth and to understand it properly.